Hi there, it's David from B2B. Thank you so much for checking out this video. And what I want to talk you through today is a concept that I call the minimum viable growth framework. And this is the scientific method to finding true market resonance and scaling up with a less is more approach to growth. And I'll jump straight into the goals of this framework. They're pretty simple. Firstly, we want to find the shortest path from point A, which is desiring growth, to point B, which is achieving growth. What is the shortest way to get from desiring growth to achieving growth with as few steps as possible? We want to remove the guesswork from marketing and growth and help businesses to stop doing marketing and start truly growing. We want to help businesses to find capital efficient growth. So that's just a fancy way of saying growing while staying lean and hyper profitable. So if that sounds good, then please listen further. We want to reduce the stress of leadership teams. I know it can be quite stressful to try and grow your company. I have a couple of businesses now, so I know how that feels. And we want to reduce the stress because you can control it and you have a clear path to how you're going to get there. And also obviously save you time and money in the process. And finally, just to say that you don't require any of these things for this framework, which is a fancy website, a large marketing team, a large marketing budget, or expensive tools and expensive CRMs. So if that sounds good, then please listen further. And the inspiration for this piece of content came from a conversation I had with one of our customers, Keith. And what he said was, all the marketing we've done until now has felt like guesswork, but this is a really simple scientific process and I could see the clear path to growth. And this is really what got me thinking along the lines of the minimum viable framework and what is the sort of shortest path, the fewest number of steps we need to take to actually find that growth. And that's why I put this together. Now, what I want to start by doing is just illustrating what I think most businesses do to try and grow. And I call this doing marketing. And there's nothing wrong with any of this stuff, but let me just walk you through how it works in practice, okay? The starting point is obviously that we desire growth. And so, this might be you or have been you in the past, and you kind of think, up until now, maybe you've been relying on referrals. You have something good, you've got a great product or a service, and you want to grow. So you think to yourself, I should do some marketing. So what you tend to do is you go, do a bunch of different marketing. So whether it's LinkedIn, updating your website, thought leadership content, events, or buying tools and, expensive things like HubSpot or something like that. And then you're going to ask yourself, is it working? And you're either going to get a yes or no answer to that. What I've noticed though, is that with this process, you tend to just get stuck in a bit of a cycle because number one, it's very difficult to measure results when you're doing lots of different marketing at the same time, or you don't have a clear step-by-step action plan. So you don't actually know if it's working or not. That's a big problem. And secondly, even if it is, the answer tends to be, we just need to do more of that, or we need to do, more different marketing channels and try something else. And if it's not working, then typically what I see people do is they jump from channel to channel and they never really see true results. And they think there's a problem with the channel, when actually they just haven't found resonance yet. And so if you find resonance, any channel works. That's kind of my main concept here. And so this might resonate with you. If it feels like you're kind of doing marketing, but you're staying in the same position, like there's a lot of activity, but you're not really growing, then this kind of is where you're at right now. And the outcomes of this process it tends to lead to confusion. It's a bit complicated. You've got lack of control over the variables. You will see some results. So you will drive some business, you'll get some leads, you'll close some deals, but the growth is pretty slow and painful. It's expensive both financially because you probably have to hire, perhaps a marketing team, or perhaps you're working with external agencies. So that can be pretty expensive in itself, especially if it's not working and bringing ROI. But I think the most important cost here is actually the opportunity cost, right? Because you might be stuck in this process for 1, 2, 3 years, say. And if we'd have figured out how to grow within 3 to 6 months, and then that gives us, 1, 2, 3 years of potential growth that we could have had. So I think that's the biggest cost here, even though there is a financial cost as well. And worst case scenario, it can lead people to believe that marketing just does not work. So I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they just told me they don't believe marketing works because it's never worked for them. So that's kind of worst case scenario. So that's the way that most businesses try to grow. Now, what I want to show you now is our framework, the minimum viable growth framework, and how that's different to the typical approach. And this has been honed and refined over 10 years of my experience in B2B sales and marketing. We've worked with over 100 companies now across the agency and our consulting business. And so we've seen lots of growth frameworks in practice, and we've been able to really distill down into what are the key parts that people need, and actually what are the bits that people can just forget about and ignore, or maybe think about later on in the process. And so here's how it works in practice. So at the same starting point, growth desired. And we start with a step that a lot of people would forget is that we need to position ourselves. So we need a really clear idea in our head of our product market fit hypothesis is what I call this, because I want us to think scientifically. I want us to think like scientists. Okay, so we need to come up with a hypothesis of the niche that we're targeting. So who is our thing for? What is the transformation that we can provide that group of people? What's the mechanism that we'll use to provide the transformation? And then some other aspects around pricing and kind of communication and messaging and stuff like that. So we'll start by positioning ourselves and having a really clear idea of who our thing is for and how we can uniquely help them. Now, we'll use that to create one single piece of marketing content. Now, this is the real beauty of this process, is that I believe all you need is one great marketing asset. So one great piece of marketing content is all you need to grow your business. We call these sales letters or video sales letters. That's what VSL stands for. A sales letter is not a new concept, so it's been around for a long time. Previously, it would have been a magazine ad or a billboard ad or something like that. It's basically a long form advertisement for your product or service. The beauty is we take a concept like that, which has been around a long time, and then using the technology that we have in 2023, it becomes incredibly efficient and powerful. So using artificial intelligence, using advertising platforms, using video, these are really things that can leverage up that process, and it can become incredibly powerful. So we now have our marketing asset and we need to test it. So if it's working, what's going to happen is it's going to turn cold prospects and turn them into warm leads. Basically, that's what we want it to do. But we don't know if it's going to do that yet. So the only way to figure it out is to test it. And I don't have time today to go over all the options for testing, but the fastest and most efficient is to pay for advertising. So you just pay to put your message up in front of people and see if they resonate with it. For B2B providers, I recommend LinkedIn advertising, but this would work on a Meta or Instagram or probably even TikTok or something like that. The reason LinkedIn is good is that for B2B providers, that's typically where your customers are hanging out. And then we're going to ask ourselves, is our message resonating? So are a good percentage of people converting? Are we getting feedback from the market? Are people telling us that they resonate with the message? Are we doing any sales? So if we launch a new sales letter and then we're doing sales within a short amount of time, then that's a really good sign that we've got something that people really resonate with. And then we'll look at the metrics of engagement and virality. So are people sharing it, either privately or publicly? Are they liking it? Are they commenting? All that kind of stuff. And this is the key part of the process, because if we don't have that yet, that's actually not a problem. And this is where people get really spooked out and they give up on the marketing channel because it hasn't worked first time round. It's actually pretty typical to not find resonance first time. And so if that's the case, very simply what we're going to do is we're just going to update our hypothesis, use that to then update our piece of content, and then we're going to test it again. And we keep cycling through different messages and different approaches until we find something that really, really works and really, really resonates. And this is the key part of the process, because what businesses will typically do is they'll say to themselves, look, we're not generating any leads, let's update our website. And it might take them 3 months or even 6 months to update their whole website. Usually that's a huge, huge job, takes a lot of time and energy. And there's no guarantees that it's going to perform better than the previous website. And it might be that no one's even coming to the website anyway. And so the difference is, in this model, we can come up with a piece of content within a few days or a week, and then we can test it very quickly. And if it doesn't work, by the next week, we're on to the next piece of content. And so it just means you can test ideas very, very quickly and get to a point where you've got resonance. Now, when we have got resonance, we need to look at the conversion mechanism of taking that interest or those leads and converting it into customers. This is obviously just your sales process, right? I don't have time to go into all the details in this video. This is probably a video for another day, but I believe a lot of B2B service companies are leaving quite a bit of money on the table because they have a very inefficient sales process. And it's a real shame, because you've done all the work of generating a lead. And then if you have an inefficient process of converting that lead into a customer, then you're basically just leaving money on the table there. So we want to make sure we have the highest conversion rates possible and the shortest sales cycle possible. We want to make it easy for our customers to say yes. So we want good closing percentages. We want less than 20% pushback on our price point. If we're getting one call closes, then that's a really good sign. So this just means, someone sees our marketing content, they hop on a call with us and they're ready to move forward right away. That is a great sign that they're resonating with the message and also the delivery mechanism that we're using to actually provide the transformation. So there's kind of 2 stages of resonance, right? So people need to buy into our initial message, but then they also need to buy into the mechanism that we're using to actually provide that transformation, okay? And this is the amazing part of a process like this, is it's so highly leveraged because you've got your video content and it's out there doing outreach for you all day, every day, right? Thousands of people are seeing it and it's getting them excited to work with you. It's qualifying them. So if they're not, a good fit, then they're probably not going to be that interested in your content. And it means by the time they get on a call with you, many of these people will be happy to, sign up and get started, even if you've got a very, very high ticket service offering. And so we're going to ask ourselves the next question: have we got resonance in the delivery system? If not, we need to improve our conversion mechanism, so our sales process. And if we have, then this, to be honest, could be the end of this framework, could be the end of this diagram, because we now have a marketing process that's generating us interest and leads, and we have a sales process that's converting that lead into customers. So we now have achieved growth, but I've added this extra phase for the people that want to take things to the next level. What you're going to do is build out a funnel based on the content. So simple landing page, design it so it looks good, add case studies and all of that. And that's going to increase your efficiency. And then it's time to scale up, and you're going to pick probably one or two of these marketing channels and really master them to the point where you're just generating a huge inflow of interest and leads and business. And the great thing about this process is it's scientific. So it's a very simple action plan. It's simple. All the variables are controllable. So you know which part of the machine is broken and then which part you need to fix. It's lean and it keeps your costs down, and you end up with really efficient growth. So growing and staying really, really profitable at the same time. So I think this can work for lots of different businesses actually. And who I think this is for is it can work for established businesses. So if you're currently relying on referrals or, introductions from your network, and you're looking to scale to a cold audience, so people that haven't heard of you before, and you want more control of your client acquisition, then this kind of process will work really well for you. It can also work for startups as well. So if you want to find market resonance, then the best way to do it is to let your marketplace tell you what resonates with them, and then therefore what you should be building. So if you're building a software product or if you're building a service, let the market tell you what that should be. This is also great for businesses who have tried lots of different marketing techniques and none of it has had the desired impact. So in short, you're tired of doing marketing and not growing. It's also a great journey for people who are technical business people who have struggled to communicate their ideas to the marketplace in the past, and you've not had great success with external marketing people or agencies. You've never been fully comfortable with the methods that they're using to get your message out, or even the message itself. It's a really great fit for businesses who are prepared to put in the energy and focus required to find true market resonance. And it's great for you if you want to make profit quickly. What I want to do is just close by giving you an example and a case study of this process being used in practice. And this is on our business, B2B. It's our new business we launched in February of 2023. And just to show you that we do actually practice what we preach. And so we're using this exact same methodology to grow our business. So this is us. We launched in Feb of 2023. This is one of the versions of the video sales letter that we've been using. And here is a snapshot from our CRM. So this is from April, so less than 90 days after the public launch of our company. And you can see we've got over 180K of new business closed in our pipeline. The majority of these payments have been paid up front, and then some of them over the following months. So this is not to impress you or to show off, but it's to show you what is possible in a short space of time, so less than 90 days, without a lot of resources. So we don't have a huge marketing budget. It's just me and an assistant working in the company right now. We don't have a fancy website or anything like that. Don't have an expensive CRM. So it's to show you what's possible in a short space of time with limited resources. So I hope you've got some value from this video. I really hope that you've got some insights that you can apply to your business right away. If you'd like to set up a call with me to discuss applying this to your business right away and actually kind of customizing it to your business right now and your business's goals, then I'd be happy to chat about that with you and see if you're a good fit to work one-on-one and see if we can work one-on-one to apply this to your business. Obviously, I have pretty limited slots, so I can't work with that many people at a time. And it is a relatively expensive price point, just to warn you. But if that's of interest, then I'd love to have a quick chat to see if I'm a good fit to help you either now or in the future. Thanks so much for your time.